Hello, guys. Today we are here with Claudia Yvette Mendez from Realty Chicago. She is the Director of Affiliated Services here. Um, hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
So, give us a little bit of background of what exactly the Director of Affiliated Services does.
So it's kind of in the title itself, right? So affiliated services means that I'm here to serve everyone with the services that we have to offer everybody. So whether that be title services, I'm also a notary. If we get down to the nitty gritty of it, I can help with that. Um, I can also help with coaching and mentoring because I'm a broker myself. I've been licensed since 2017, so I have
Real estate
experience.
broker.
Real estate broker, yes. And then
You teach classes.
I also teach classes. I teach real estate classes
Real
on
estate,
Saturdays, so I'm
yeah.
also a real estate instructor.
Nice. Look at you.
Yeah, so it's kind of overall umbrella, right? And
That's a whole lot of hats you're wearing.
Yeah, and then what do you call that person? The affiliated services.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah. So anything else that's outside of real estate, basically, of actually selling, you handle all that.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
All right, cool. Awesome. So give us a little more background on yourself. You're native to Chicago.
I am native to Chicago, born and raised. I kind of grew up within like the Pilsen, Little Village area, made my way over to Gage Park. Parents moved me to the suburbs just because, my dad was like, I have 4 daughters. I can't, I want to give them like a safer neighborhood.
Yeah.
So he like took us out to the suburbs to get away from the boys.
Were you the one that told me that there used to be a garbage dump or something in Pilsen?
Yes. So Harrison Park used to be this like quarry of like limestone.
Okay, yeah. So it was a quarry at first.
Yes, at first, and then they had to like pile it up. So yeah, and now it's a baseball field where we play softball.
Ah, yes, the south side versus north side, or whatever.
All the
offices fighting for the title.
Yeah. Good times. It's good times.
Yeah, and I'll break something if I try to.
So that's also another thing that I do, right? Those are the events. Like we need an event planner. I'm also an event planner.
Wow, look at you.
I know. It's a lot.
Jack of all trades.
There you go.
Awesome. So you've been in the business, banking, real estate for what, 20 years now?
Yeah, I started off in banking 2003. Started off as a part-time teller and then just kind of worked my way up. So it was a very sales-driven job. In banking and retail banking, a lot of banks have quarterly goals. Yes. The bank that I worked for had a monthly goal. So as soon as you were done, you celebrated for about, for a few hours, and the next day it was like all over again, that you had to get your sales boards cleared because it was just a new goal. I was also licensed with my life and house, so there was goals in that end. I had to do some cold calling. So that's when I really started to learn about like the sales aspect, like different sides of like selling, whether it was like cold calling or consultative selling and just building rapport, getting people to trust you because, it's their money.
Yes.
And then, some people had it, some people didn't, and you had to learn maybe like some financial literacy as well, just to kind of like help people out.
Educate.
Yeah. So it was just a lot of that, a lot of like well-rounded skills that we had to learn so we can help all of,
Seems like you should be a teacher.
Well, I think that's why I'm an instructor.
Yeah, you are.
No, I do like it. I mean, I at the bank, I also ended up on the corporate training side of things because so on the bank side, they divided us into sales side and then like the operational side.
Right.
I somehow ended up learning like both sides. So when I ended up on the corporate side, I was able to relate to my colleagues over, in the branches. And then at the same time, understand the back end of things and why we did the things that we did and why goals were set the way that they were and, how things were allocated.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever work in a bank.
It was fun. I took advantage of a reimbursement program as well twice.
What is that?
So tuition reimbursement program.
Okay,
Sorry,
that's for like school. Like,
so I got my degree in marketing and management.
Okay.
And then I ended up going back to get my paralegal degree.
Well, that's one of the good things that I know, like a lot of banks, they do that tuition reimbursement, which helps out, because obviously you don't want to be a bank teller for the rest of your life or whatever,
Yeah, no,
that gives you opportunities to move up. in the banking industry and get up
and
to those
support
higher
and
levels.
help. And that
Right.
really did help a lot because I was already, by the time I went back to get my second degree, I was already a single mom.
Wow.
And, that helped a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
Thanks.
Any cool, crazy stories or something that really stuck out with you in that time in banking?
I got robbed twice.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I got robbed twice.
Oh.
Well, the first time it was a good gentleman who was just going through some rough time, bad time, couldn't. And I learned this after the fact, right? Because they kind of
Yeah.
like tell you what they learned about the person. Because you also get some into court. But so he was just kind of going through a rough patch. He needed, got desperate, needed to pay his rent or his mortgage, needed to make some type of payment. And he came in with a white business envelope. Like it was one of those like, oh, this is my bill, and I'm just taking
Right, here to
the
pay.
extra, and it was on. He wrote the note, like the robbery note, on the back of it in pencil, and I just kind of looked at it, and then he pulled out like a black liquor store bag, and he just kind of was like,
trick or treat,
right,
Give
and
me the
then
money.
and then after that, it was just like,
Like,
he left.
oh,
Like you were
man.
told, just don't be a hero, just give him the
Give
money.
him the money.
But after that, my adrenaline was like pumping, and the FBI came,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Let's go get him!"
Right?
And they were just kind of like,
get in the car.
"What?" Yeah.
Go chase
And
him.
but they found him at the end of the alley, so he didn't get
Oh,
too far.
wow.
Yeah, he didn't get too far. But
Yeah.
you kind of learn things like that. Like he got desperate, so you just kind of feel bad.
Yeah, you do feel
but
bad.
your adrenaline totally.
Well,
So that's my fun story. Not so fun story.
Yeah,
But after
I've
the
heard
fact.
worse.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in banking, and I've heard of like, where people actually get taken hostage.
Yeah.
Where they'll take somebody and like leave with
luckily,
them.
like nobody was hurt. Luckily, they caught him, and it just kind of.
Well, I mean, don't rob banks, kids. Don't rob banks.
Moral
You're
of the
gonna
story.
get caught.
Don't rob a bank. Yeah. I know there's just so much more technology, so it's just good. And then and that's another thing. Like so, like in banking, like I was banking for a long time, and you see like a lot of things were like paper based, or we had like it was like less technology and less like things that were done like electronically, and now it's moved over to like self banking. And you don't see tellers as often, so there's less of an opportunity, in my opinion, to rob people, just because I think like they're just not keeping so much cash on hand.
Yeah, I went into a bank on I forget where it was, like I want to say Oak Lawn. It was out like far south, and you walk in and it's literally just ATMs.
Yeah, and
it's just the person tellers
directing you.
It was just ATMs, like go to the ATM.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
And that's what I miss. Like, and I guess I've always liked sales, but I like the personal, like soft skill thing, part of it.
Yeah.
I don't like just directing people to use machines. I've always.
Did you guys ever like have the issue where like they're like, oh, they come in and say like, let's say you had a robbery, and they're like, we need the camera video, right? And then you like, it's like all grainy and stuff, and they can't really make out the people.
I
feel like banks need to upgrade their security.
Yeah, we need to get the whatever type of like photo technology they use at like on roller coasters and amusement parks.
Yeah, or the moon, or Mars, or wherever they have.
Yeah. It was pretty good. And then because at that point when I had gotten robbed, we were inside a Jewel location. Okay, so Jewel also had security, and then you have the panic buttons and things like that. Wow. And then they ask you like right away, like for a description. And
half the time you're like, I don't know.
No, the only thing that I was saying that he was wearing all black, but he was wearing all like dark blue. Yeah. So that was the only thing where I was like off, but I was like,
a lot of times you do misremember.
And I think that's why.
But it's all like you said, that adrenaline kicks in.
Yeah, and it's easy for your brain to think that it's all one thing when it was really something else.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's how people, hopefully, someone has that like presence to be like wearing a black sweater, black pants, or blue jeans, and just kind of start remembering those things because they know they're going to get asked, right?
Yeah.
But we don't think about that because we're just going on about our day, and then it's like, boom, give me your money.
And nobody noticed. Nobody in the store noticed. Wow. Like I just looked at my teller and I was like, I just got robbed. And then she was like, what? Like, what do we do? And then it just goes on from there. But yeah you gotta.
Wow.
Yeah, think I'm a queen.
Well, aside from that, what else? Then when you transitioned to real estate, what made you do that? Like, what made you get into real estate?
So, like I mentioned earlier, like banking started moving from building like client relationships and building rapport to more and more like technology. So everything, even like our training started going from classroom training to like e-modules and e-learning and just kind of doing everything over a computer. So you could start seeing that, banking was transitioning into a whole nother, I don't want to say completely different industry, but it was just a lot different than what I was used to. And I just kind of, I was there for 15 years, like straight out of high school. So I just kind of felt like, okay, I'm definitely in my comfort zone. So I think it's time to kind of venture out. And as I was having conversations with somebody, I actually went to a wedding and, I got seated with some friends, and one of my friends that was sitting next to me, he was like, he was already doing well and, successful in real estate. And he told me like, what, I really think that you'd be great at real estate. Okay. And that's exactly what I said. Yeah. Okay. And then I took the class. It was just kind of like the rest is history. Like I took the class, I studied, I passed, I, interviewed some brokerages, ended up with him at the brokerage that he was at. So that was, I felt like that was really helpful because you have somebody to kind of, guide you and someone who can, that you're comfortable with to ask questions, because it was a whole new industry for me. Right. Like I didn't know anything really about real estate, just based off like what I observed, with other people.
When you go into a bank, like you said, like there's training and they show you how to do things their way. Yeah. And, but when you come into real estate, it's just like
there's less structure.
Here's your license.
Yeah, and
figure it out.
And that was even like a little bit of a shock for me because I'm very much like a corporate person.
Right. You didn't know you were going to be self-employed.
No. And then I was like, what is going on? Where's the training? Where are the policies? Like, where's the, so that was a little bit different for me. But, you adjust. You got to make a living. You got to figure things out. Yeah, you got to figure it out, and you just got to keep going.
And it sounds like, obviously, being in the banking for so long, a lot of customer service, so you're already comfortable talking to people and helping people, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just real estate's a continuation of that. But now, obviously, you're not helping with bank deposits or whatever. You're helping them buy a home, which is a huge step up.
Yeah. And it's just like another goal, right? Because it's like a lot of communities don't have like financial literacy like we talked about. And then, even less of like, an understanding of like how they can qualify to buy a home. And they don't have like, a lot of times like we don't have resources. Right. So I'm the first in my family to like get a real estate license. So that was kind of like, we didn't really have anybody, or my parents did, but I really didn't have anybody in my network besides my friend that was in real estate.
Gotcha. So then you were in real estate. You come to us.
Yeah, after a couple of years.
Why Realty of Chicago?
I was with another brokerage, but from the beginning when I joined that other brokerage, David Dominguez had already started recruiting me. And I was really? I just started here, And then the other brokerage offered me a corporate position. Like I think I was like 9 months into it, and they offered me a corporate position. David comes around again, and I'm like, hey, well, now I'm on the corporate side. And he's like, well, I can't offer you that right now. So I was just kind of like, we kept that that open communication. And I just said, when you have something, like, let me know. And then, I would see a lot of marketing from Realty of Chicago in my neighborhood. Like in Pilsen, there was like Fiesta del Sol, there was Mole de Mayo. Like it was all these things, and I was kind of like, man, I want to be over there. Like they're doing like big things,
They're having fun.
Yeah. So, and it was, there's a little bit of FOMO there, but, but like I said, David and I just kind of kept open communication, and a few years later, here I am.
The opportunity presented itself, and here you are.
Yes.
Awesome. So back to the teaching. You do the real estate classes. Mm-hmm. Like, how does that? I mean, how do you do it? I mean, I know you already do all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But then to go and teach all this real estate stuff, like, I don't know how, like, what motivates you to do that? To sit there for all those hours,
Yeah.
to teach these, incoming
I think everybody finds like what they like to do, right? And there's some people that like to be in the limelight and they like, their love language is being presented with a trophy or like words of affirmation and just kind of being like, yeah, like I won, right? Like
Right.
top producers, like they like to be in the front. I'm okay not being in the front,
You wanna be
right?
in the back.
Like I had, when I was in banking, I won my trips, right? I got to go to Costa Rica, I got to go to Cancun, I got
Nice.
to, do that. But then as I started getting older and just, I started changing and my goals started changing as well.
Okay.
So I just kind of shifted to like, I'm okay like mentoring and training and coaching. Like I like that, seeing that aha moment in them when I can tell that they understood it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just kind of like it clicked and they're like, oh, so this. And I'm like, yes, they got it.
Yeah.
So that to me, I enjoy seeing that moment.
That little light bulb.
Yeah, being able to, and then because it's me, like I was able to take information that someone didn't really understand and then articulate it in a way that they could.
Yeah.
Right. So I like that I can do that. Whether it's something goofy, whether it's like, okay, so if you're dating somebody, you're not going to do this, right? And then people are like, oh, okay. Or if it's just something more, logical, it's just like, well, this is what the policy says. We're not going to do it, right? Like,
Yeah.
So however way it is, but I like to adapt to people's communication styles. And when I am able to do that, I'm like, yes,
Cool.
So that's very gratifying for me.
Okay. So what do you, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Still going to be here with us, or do you have
Hopefully.
any bigger goals?
Hopefully, there are, because I am very much like, what's next, right? So, I mean, I love training. So I really enjoy the teaching real estate classes. So hopefully, maybe one day in the near future, we're able to open our own school and I can direct that. So that would be ideal for me. Yeah, but there's like, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I have goals here within like, certain things that I want. And, hopefully my boss is on board with me.
Happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever the goal is, but there's always has to be a goal, right? Like there always has to be like, what's next? We can't stay stagnant for too long.
True. You gotta keep something to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
But I really do see that you put a lot of time into, helping. Even when I did my real estate classes, we didn't have the like coaching or the extra sessions that you do outside of the class. I literally would just, luckily I went to school with another person that I knew, and I'd be like, hey man, let's go meet up at the Barnes and Nobles and like just study, study buddy, and you actually, for the students that want it, you offer them to come in and go over stuff. Yeah,
I think that, I was congratulated by the owner and CEO of RAI saying that, I was one of the youngest instructors that he had.
That was another thing I was saying.
And then you add on the Latina part, and then he's like, you're probably,
yeah. Because all the teachers that I've had previously were already not even practice it anymore. They were just, it was like their retirement job, just to kind of keep it going, right?
Yeah.
Or giving back, right? They already went through their real estate
or just
career.
An extra paycheck.
They're just like, hey, we're done and we're just going to teach, which is kind of cool. But you're doing it early on.
Yes. And, I want to, I'm a true believer that representation matters, right? Yes. So, I want people to see, someone like me teaching and saying like, hey, you can do this, right? Like, and we're going to figure out a way, because yes, these words are like old English, like vocabulary that we don't use. Like we're not walking around saying like, hey, did you see that encroachment today? Like that's messed up, right? Like we don't say that.
Or bets and bounds.
Right. We don't use those.
That?
Like they're important, friends, but we don't use them on a daily basis. So, I do want people to see that, that it is possible. And I'm a single mom, and I like to do things outside of work too. It may not seem like it because I'm such a workaholic, but
yeah, you are. You're here all the time.
Yes, I am here.
Not saying anything bad about that, but you are a hard worker.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So single mom, it's got to be tough.
He's 13 now, so
it's high school's coming.
Yeah, it's
only going to get worse.
It's just, it gets worse in different ways. It's just every, every year it's something new.
Okay.
You know, before it was like, I don't know. When he was younger, I was afraid that he was gonna have like some type of not speech impediment, but he wasn't speaking like as like at the time frame that he should have started speaking.
Oh, okay.
But then his doctor was like, give him a sec. Like he's processing 3 languages
Oh, yeah.
because it was English, Spanish, and Arabic. So I was like,
yeah,
okay,
that's a lot.
And now he won't stop. Now it's just like, you know. But yeah, so every year is just something different. So now it's the girlfriend.
Oh, wait till he goes for the license. My son just started that process.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You're like, here's your bus pass.
Yeah, I was gonna say, luckily we're in the city, so he can like Uber and take a bus or something.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Or a divvy.
Not out here in Berwyn.
Yeah.
It's like,
we'll figure it out.
Tired of being the Uber driver.
I bet.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
And I'm pretty sure people are going to find you very interesting.
I hope so.
And
I
if anybody wants to get a real estate license and wants to, maybe get signed up for a class, let us know in the comments, and we'll hook you up here with Claudia.
Yeah, please. We do have
get your
sessions
license.
often. We just started one, but we will be holding one. We do them about every 10 weeks.
Cool. All right. We'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.